It's almost a week to the day the nation celebrated 52 years of nationhood, and as far as the political scene is concerned, we seem to have hit the ground running. Welcome to Politics Today on Channels Television. I'm Charles Eruka. Well, we start with events here in Lagos, where the political community is still reeling from the shock of a judgment delivered by the Lagos State Election Petition Tribunal in the case of the Ikoyi-Obalende Local Council Development Area elections. The tribunal nullified the October 2011 electoral victory of the Action Congress of Nigeria's Mr. Wale Adeniji and declared his opponent, Mr. Ibrahim Babajide Obanikoro, of the People's Democratic Party as the duly elected chairman of Ikoyi-Obalende Local Council Development Area. Our political correspondent, Seun Okimbaloye, traces the journey of this stunning turn of events from polling booth to the courtroom.
The preparation and the anticipation show there was so much at stake in the Lagos local council elections. Blood boiled, hopes were high, and the atmosphere was tense. For the Ikoyi-Obalende poll, it was a very peculiar one. On the day of the election, everybody agreed it was a generally peaceful one. But for some, a couple of things were just not right.
We don't see 40 boxes here in Obalende.
That out of the 28 polling center in this zone, it's only 10 we got. So we are now asking the question, where are the remaining 18 polling center? Because you can never vote, you cannot vote, except the center you have been registered. So we came out this morning, we couldn't find our center. We now started asking questions, how can we vote?
Musili Obanikoro, a strong man in Lagos politics and Nigeria's former ambassador to Ghana, is the father of Jide Obanikoro, and he felt uneasy about his home turf being taken over by the ACN.
People cannot be professing to be holier than thou, and they are doing something that will destroy this society.
After the elections, protesters thronged the office of the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission, LISEC.
We have mercy! This is fire for fire! Fire for fire!
We are law-abiding citizens. The election, after taking place, the result must be counted, collated, and then summarized and released. That's what we expect. That's what we are expecting from them. Anywhere PDP won in Lagos, they've decided not to collate the result.
Ikoyi-Obalende, ACN won the chairmanship seat. There are 5 wards in Ikoyi-Obalende, and ACN won the 5 councillorship seats.
For those words and that particular result for the Ikoyi-Obalende elections, huge controversies trailed. The younger Obanikoro, Babajide Obanikoro, and the PDP dragged LISEC, the ACN, and its candidate, Adele Adeniji, before the tribunal. After 11 months of waiting and appearing before the tribunal, the Local Government Election Petitions Tribunal nullified the victory of the ruling Action Congress of Nigeria, ACN, the candidate Adewale Adeniji, in the LCDA election and declared Obanikoro the duly elected chairman. The 5-man tribunal held that Jide Obanikoro won with 3,780 votes as against that of Adeniji, who scored 3,248 votes. That's a difference of 532 votes, a very close one. Justice Ojo, who read the judgment, said the petitioners have shown that the non-collation of the results at the unit and ward levels substantially affected the outcome of the result declared by LISEC. He then said, and I quote, "We order LISEC to issue a certificate of return to the petitioner with immediate effect, having won the disputed election. We are also awarding 100,000 naira as cost in favor of the petitioner." 1 out of 57 council seats is what the PDP can boast of in Lagos, at least for now. It may be tough for the younger Banikoro. Definitely, this could be one victory too many for the PDP in Lagos. Meanwhile, the creation of the LCDA is one that the PDP fought the then governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and now it's the same that they fight to get. The tribunal has ruled, and it is expected that Lasiek will comply. But then, will the sleeping dogs lie? Sheung Okimbaloye for Channels Television.
Shortly after Independence Day, President Goodluck Jonathan was scheduled to formally present the 2013 budget proposal to a joint session of the National Assembly. However, differences of viewpoints between the budget figures have temporarily stalled that event. But we can conclude that the nation's lawmakers would not just want to oppose the executive over a matter in which the country's ordinary citizens might well end up as victims. So we'll be looking at the differences of perspective between the two arms of government. And we're now being joined from our studio in Abuja by the Chairman, House Committee on Appropriation, Honorable John Eno. Well, thank you very much for joining us on the program, Honorable Eno.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Well, we'll also be joined later by an economist, Mr. Wale Oluwa, because we have an issue of political economics, or is it economic politics here? But let me start by asking you, the President's move to kickstart the process of implementing the budget early may be commendable. So why does it appear as if the National Assembly is proving to be the stumbling block here?
Well, I really don't think that the National Assembly is in any way proving to be the stumbling block. The National Assembly has actually been at the forefront of pushing for early presentation of budget, so it can be considered early, passed in good time, and so we can start the new year with a new budget. So the same National Assembly that has been as concerned, that has been championing this, cannot at the same time be a stumbling block. It cannot.
Okay. The House of Representatives had actually earlier threatened to initiate impeachment proceedings against the President for not implementing the 2012 budget 100%. But evidently, the non-implementation 100% was including the fact that what we call the constituency budget was also not implemented, and that actually bears directly on the National Assembly. Was that the issue here, the non-implementation of the constituency budget?
I don't think the non-implementation of the constituency project was in itself the problem or the issue. The constituency project budget is part of the national budget, and you cannot separate them. To indicate the fact, for example, that couldn't have been the issue, even the implementation of, let's say, even the President's proposal initially is not being done. I'll give you some examples. For example, if you take some particular MDAs, let's say the Ministry of Works, that ordinarily is supposed to have so much work and so much challenge given the state of our roads, and you find out, for example, that more than 100 billion was allocated and appropriated for Ministry of Works, and that by the end of the third quarter, only just about 50% of this money has been released. We're not talking about the figure cash back. So the quarrel or the issue that the National Assembly has with the implementation of 2012 budget cannot be limited to whether the executive is implementing members' consensus project or not. Anybody who is talking about that is just some way of blackmailing the National Assembly. We're talking about the entire national budget and the fact that the implementation, leaves a lot to be desired. You can't reduce it to members' consensus project.